We can now speak to Gil Murciano. He is the CEO of the think tank Mitvim, which is the Israeli Institute for Regional Foreign Policies. Welcome to DW. So we saw that Israel was noticeably absent from the Cairo summit. When will Israel be prepared to take part in peace negotiations?
Right. I think that when it comes to the summit, the role of the Israelis was marginal here. I think the summit was more meant to send specific messages to the audience at home, but also show concerns to the international community by the regional actors, by Egypt and by others, about the possibility of a spillover of the conflict into the region. Right now, when it comes to Israel, I think that the first and second and third priority is to win a war. Preferably in one front against Hamas, with the possibility of the expansion of this war into a second one with Iran and Hezbollah. So it's a little bit premature to speak about peace. However, what we see in the last couple of days is some kind of first signs to a discussion about the day after, in the understanding that what happened in Gaza changes everything, and we won't have the same odd coexistence between Hamas as a terrorist organization in Israel. There's a discussion about the day after, and there's a realization that the discussion about the day after in Gaza is not a military one, but a political one. And that's part of the discussion that starts today.
Well, nevertheless, many countries at the summit and also around the world are calling for an immediate ceasefire. And Hamas even reportedly said that it would be willing to release more hostages if there is a ceasefire. And yet, so far, Israel is not stopping its airstrikes. So can we understand this to mean that Israel is willing to sacrifice its hostages for its military goals in Gaza?
I think that when it comes to Hamas' alleged willingness to release the children, women, and the men that was kidnapped in this barbaric attack of October 7th, I think it's a classic, cynical, I would say, ruse that is normally used by kidnappers with hostages. And the idea is to delay the ground attack against Hamas by offering the feeling or the impression that if you just wait, you might see your loved ones, which is, it's a known ruse that was used by ISIS and Al-Qaeda before, even by Iran with German and foreign citizens. And it meant to use the internal clash in Israel between the Israeli population and the criticism of the handling of the kidnapped individuals topic by the government. So to drive a wedge between the public and between the leadership. And that's how I would see the release of the first two hostages yesterday, basically. But I don't think that when it comes to the hostages topic, I don't really see that as a major or as a sign of real willingness by Hamas.
At the Cairo summit, the German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock, in her remarks, highlighted that Israel has the right to defend itself under the framework of international law. How was her message received in Israel?
I think it was seen as a sign of support, and I think that was that is a general impression about the German position altogether. There's almost an impossible effort right now when the Israeli ground attack is in preparation to try and balance between a feeling of great need for revenge, I would even say, or an incredible rage in Israel, and the attempt to think rationally. And part of it is trying to balance the issue of humanitarian law, including the incorporation of international law experts into the planning units in the IDF. However, this is almost impossible because when you speak about the most condensed area in the world, everybody who say that you can conduct a large-scale operation in Gaza without civilian casualties, and we've seen Palestinian civilian casualties already, is basically lying. So the ability to balance between the attempt to change the basic status quo and to remove Hamas from power and the ability to do it without, or by, I would say, reducing civilian casualties is almost impossible. We've seen some changes with the willingness to offer humanitarian corridor. There was criticism over the decision by the families of the kidnapped individuals, by the way, hoping to extract maximum pressure. But right now, the framework of humanitarian law is what Israel is trying to apply. Whether they succeed or not, we'll see mostly in the coming weeks during the ground offensive.
That was Gil Murciano from the Israeli Institute for Regional Foreign Policies, Mitvim. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.